All right, back to it. Oops, sorry, I am on the wrong page. All right, back to the last part of these notes. So it says examples not in standard form. So we talked about standard form quite a bit and in some different ways throughout the school year. So standard form is basically to say everything's on one side. And I really, really, really want you to keep x squared positive. Okay. Those are just weird looking. Keep x squared positive. So if I'm saying that I want this to say positive, which means I have to move this over, this 4x over, because I want it set equal to 0. So since 4x is positive, I have to subtract. And you need to keep this in standard form. So the other part of that is having it from the highest power to the lowest power. And if you remember, 45 is like having it to 45x to the 0 power because x to the 0 power equals 1. Okay? If you notice, it's going to look a lot like above. From there, we can go ahead and factor. Factors of 45 are 1 and 45, and I'm having a brain fart today, so bear with me. If you're going to hear my calculator, 45 divided by 3 is 15. I knew that. And 45 divided by 5 is 9, and that should be everything. Okay? So 1 and 45 will never get 4. 3 and 15 will never add up to 4, but 5 and 9 will. Since this last term is negative, you have to have a negative and a positive. And since the term in front, or I should say, sorry, the operation in front is negative, it means the larger term is negative. So x minus 9, x plus 5 equals 0. We can't factor any farther because it's x to the first power and x to the first power. So we're going to set each of those factors equal to 0 since we're done factoring, and we're going to solve them. So add the 9, subtract the 5, and we have our two answers, and we write them this way. Okay. And voila, we're done. Okay. This one only had one term to move. If you look over to 8, you have multiple. Okay, again, this x squared, it just makes life so much easier if you keep it positive. So move everything from the other side on over. Okay, so to move the 4x, we need to subtract it since it's positive. And we're going to subtract the 1 since it's positive, so that goes away, giving us 0, which is what we want. We want that equal to 0. Okay, that gives you x squared minus 14x plus 48. Watch your signs. Okay, it's a trinomial. There's 3 terms with x squared, x, and a constant, which is the 1 or the number. So what we're going to do is find the factors of 48 that add up to this 14. So 48 divided by 2 is 24. I'm cheating and using a calculator because I think my brain's fried today. 3 and 16. I don't think it's divisible by 4. I'm wrong, duh. Told you, brain is fried. 4 divided by 12, and then, let's see, 6, and that's it. Once you get numbers one number apart, okay, it skips, you're not going to find another factor in between, so you're done. Okay, 1 and 48 will never get 14. 2 and 4 will never get 14. 3 and 16 will never get 14. That will never get 14, but 6 and 8, let's see, yes, okay. Now, since this last symbol is positive, you're either going to be having a negative and a negative or positive, positive. So you're literally asking yourself, how are these added to get negative 14? And the only one that can be added together to get that is 6 and 8. Okay. I always told you if this last symbol is positive, then the symbol in front will tell you what your two signs are. So both of my signs in here are negative, equaling 0. That stays. Not in any particular order. You have 6 and 8. Now, you can't factor any farther because it's to the x to the first power and x to the first power. Okay, we're going to set each of them equal to 0. And I think we should be good enough to, or know well enough that you would just add the 6 over and then add the 8. So I'm going to be done writing that because I think we could do that in our head. And you get your answers. Okay, so those are good examples of when it's not set up the way you need it kind of like up here. Like it was all y equals, everything was in the correct order. The two below are just an example of not being in standard form. So if you have questions on that, revert back to example 7 and 8. Now when we go to page 3, okay, you're going to notice that they have an a is greater than 1. And you might be like, what is a? Well, a is the number in front of the x squared. So it's the coefficient, I'm going to write this down, coefficient, I'm going to shorten it, in front of the x squared, okay? So that's what that means. If the coefficient in front of the x squared is bigger than 1, then you have to do the bottoms up method. Wow, this handwriting is getting real bad. Sorry, people. All right, so because we have to do the bottoms up method, you got to go about it differently. But you have to remember, first and foremost, always do the greatest common factor. You have to do the greatest common factor first if it's there. So on number 9, we need to ask ourselves, is there a greatest common factor? Anytime there's a number in front of the x squared, the highest power, always, always, always ask yourself, is there a greatest common factor between the 3x squared, the 9x, and the 12? And there is. That greatest common factor is 3. So I'm going to do 2 steps at once. I'm going to do the greatest common factor. I'm going to divide everything by 3. Hey, look, I got a comment on Facebook. That's going to pop up here and there. I need to turn off my notifications, but I don't know how to, so bear with me. I'm more focused on doing all this stuff during this lovely time than my computer notifications, so you're just going to see them. I factored out the 3, leaving with x squared minus 3x minus 4. Remember, if there's 3 terms here, there has to be 3 terms in this parenthesis. There's no other option. And I set it equal to 0. I put my 0 over here. I don't like when my x is on my right side and not my left side. Okay, that's just an OCD thing. Okay, the 3 is going to jump down. It's going to stay. I like to call it like the third wheel. It's stuck forever. Forever the third wheel. Just works out that that's also a 3. Right? You're going to find the factors of 4 that give you 3. Only factors of 1 and 4 are 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. 2 and 2 will never get to the number 3. And when I'm saying that, you have to kind of look at the operation. If this is negative, you're going to find the difference. Okay, if it's positive, you're going to find them adding. So the difference between 1 and 4 will get me 3. Whatever the symbol is in front of this negative will tell you what the larger number is. Larger number is. So the larger number, I should say factor, but larger number is 4, so it's negative, and then this is positive. Now the product property rule states that you're supposed to set everything that's a product equal to 0. Well, let's make a line here so we don't get confused. Setting 3 equal to 0 does not give you an answer, okay? It does not give you an answer. That does not happen. So you don't ever need to set this equal to 0 if it's just a number. Now if there's an x right there, you need to set it equal to 0. But you'll never get an answer if there's no variable. And there's no variable for this right here, this 3 that's sitting out in front. Okay, so no answer from it. Okay, you're going to do x minus 4 equals 0 and x plus 1. Now let's talk about something real quick, which is a little off topic. But if the highest power is 2, and we've talked about this before, it's just been since the fall. If the highest power is 2, that tells you at most how many answers you can have. Or solutions. Oops, wrote that twice. And I'm still getting used to this pen, so I can't even erase using the pen because I don't really know how to. Let's try this. There we go. The struggle of adapting to this situation. All right, solutions. I would say that. At most, how many solutions? There you go. Done. Okay, so we can only have 2 solutions, so that's why this isn't even a thing. Okay, so x equals 4, x equals negative 1. It's hard to tell that's negative 1. I'll clean it up, and 4. Okay, so that's your answer to that. I would like for you to do number 10 on your own. Okay, ask yourself, and my hint to you is ask yourself first, what is the greatest common factor, or is there a greatest common factor? And then go from there. So go ahead and pause the video in a little bit. Let me talk a little more, sorry. Pause the video, do the problem, restart the video, and listen to my explanation, all right? Pause the video now. All right, now that you're done with the problem, let's go through this. I'm gonna do some steps at once, kind of like this one over here. So, a couple steps at once. 5, 20, and 60 all have a greatest common factor of 5. So I'm going to factor out a 5. Okay, when you divide 5x squared by 5, you get x squared. When you divide 20x by 5, you get 4. And 60 divided by 5, and yes, I'm checking it because I don't trust myself today. Just too much going on, is 12. Okay, and I'm going to set it equal to 0. I'm putting it on the right side. Again, it doesn't matter. We have a trinomial going on. Highest power is 2, meaning I usually have more factoring to do. and that is the case for us. So we're going to find the factors of 12. That will give you 4. Okay, now when I say give you 4, again, that's subtracting, so you're really finding the difference that will give you 4, and 2 and 6 is your answer. Okay, the symbol behind is negative, means I have to have a negative and a positive. The symbol in front tells me what the larger factor is. The larger factor is 6, so it's x minus 6 and positive 2. This does not give me anything, so I'm just going to put a big old X there. It's not going to give me anything. There's no X. 5 equals 0 is not a solution. X minus 6 equals 0, which gives you positive 6 if you add it over. X plus 2 equals 0. So if you subtract the 2, you get negative 2. I'm really bad about these negatives, man. So X equals negative 2 and positive 6. Again, the order of that doesn't really matter. I'm just putting in numerical order for right now. So don't think you have to do that. Whew. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't realize there was 14 examples. Whew. All right. So I'm going to do 11 and 12 with you. And then I want you to, once you're done following that, I want you to pause the video, do 13 and 14 on your own, and then start the video back up and check it out, okay? So number 11 does not have a greatest common factor, okay? That's our first question. But if you notice 2 and 3, both prime numbers, and 5, also a prime number. If you have 3 prime numbers, you're not getting the greatest common factor out of it, okay? It's just not happening. So we're going to go straight to setting it equal to 0, okay? If there's a number in front of the x squared, you have to do the bottoms up method. We check the greatest common factor, not a thing, so bottoms up method it is. If you remember, you multiply the 2 to the 5. We're going to find the factors of 10. This is subtracting, so we're finding the difference of the factors, so 2 and 5 is our answer. Since this is subtracting and that's negative, my larger factor is negative, so that's 5. Okay, we set each one of these factors equal to 0. So x equals 5 and x equals negative 2. You'd add the 5 over here, you'd subtract the 2 over here, and you get your answer. All right. I just realized I had a video or a proof of you for something, and I don't have it. Okay, so I'm going to prove number 11. I accidentally had it set up for number 9, but that's okay. I just want to show you how this works. So see number 9's example. 2x squared and plus 3x minus 5. Let me check it. I kind of forget. Okay, perfect. So this is the graph. If you notice, you have a solution here and you have a solution here. Okay, so our answer should come out as negative 2.5, or whatever the fraction version of it is, because we're doing fractions only, and 1. So we kind of see what the answer is right here. Okay, that's us visually solving it. But we're doing it by factoring. So you can check yourself using Desmos. It's a great site. But obviously I need the work to be shown if you do it on the daily practice of how to do this. Okay. And I don't have those answers. And yes, I did this on purpose. So don't think I made the mistake. There's something we forgot. Okay. And this is what's always forgotten. And I just kind of wanted to prove to you what happens if you don't do it. We do the bottoms up method. And when you do the bottoms up method, you have to undo what you did. So all of this right here is wrong. Okay. I didn't undo what I did. Okay. So I kind of wanted to show you what happens, bigger eraser, if you don't do that. Our answers came out as negative 2 and 5, and the answers are negative 2.5 and 1. So that's a different answer for sure. So going back, just to show you the importance of that, we're going to divide by 2. And we're dividing by 2 because we have to undo what we did here. Bottoms up method says if you can't simplify the fraction, it goes up and it goes forward. Right in front of that x. And we can divide that, so it's x plus 1. Okay. I'm going to write this over here because I'm running out of room. 2x minus 5 gets equal to 0. We add the 5 over. And x equals 5 over 2. We're going to set this x plus 1 equal to 0 and subtract the 1, and you get the answer. So final answer for this is, oops, I forgot a negative. Ooh. Guys, I think we have a mistake again. Let's go back. Did I make a mistake? Bigger factor is -5. Oh, wow, I'm just making mistakes all over. Let's try to fix this. I forget the positive symbol right here. I lost it. I'm sorry, guys. We're not redoing this video because I made this mistake. You're just going to suffer through the mistakes and learning how this all works. It's a little different doing it on here. That's negative. That's positive. That's negative. Wrong. Wrong. Okay, this time I actually made a mistake, and it was not on purpose. All right, so positive, negative, that makes that positive. When you solve this, you're now going to subtract 1, so we get a -1. And here we have a +5, so we're going to subtract the 5 over, and it gets us -5/2. So now, sorry, still haven't fixed it all the way. So now, ooh, holy mistakes, people. Now we have the right answer. Wow. Thanks for dealing with me on that one. All right, so number 2. Okay, I'm going to kind of go through this and hopefully not make any mistakes. You have 2x squared prime, 13x prime, 7 prime, all 3 prime numbers. I almost said videos. Prime numbers. So you have to take the 2 to the 7. You have to do the bottoms up method because you don't have a greatest common factor. When you do that, you get 14, and then you're going to find the factors of 14 that give you 13. Since this is negative, you're trying to find the difference that gets you 13, and you can keep going, but 1 and 14 is it from the beginning, and I didn't mean to circle just 14, sorry. Since this is negative, the symbol in front will tell you what the larger number is. So you get x plus 14 and x minus 1. -14, or positive 14 times -1 is -14. 14 adding to -1 is positive. Now, let's not make this mistake that I did do on purpose in the last one, I swear. You have to undo what you did. So we have to divide by 2. Okay, that gives you x plus 7. This you can't simplify, so the 2 goes up where the bottom comes into name comes into play. And then we set each of these equal to 0. So 7 plus 7 equals 0, which gives us -7, because you're going to subtract this over. And then on the 2x minus 1, you're going to set that equal to 0. I'm running out of room, sorry. You're going to add the 1 over, divide by the 2, and x equals 1/2. So you have -7 and 1/2. Okay? So, sorry, again, for number 11, no mistakes on number 12. Again, what I'd like you to do is complete number 13 and 14, knowing that they're not in standard form, knowing that you have to keep the x squared positive, and everything needs to be on one side, okay? I want you to ask yourself while doing it, what's the greatest common factor, if there is one, and then if there isn't one, complete it using the bottoms up method, okay? So go ahead, complete these problems, restart the video, or start the video when you're done with it. So pause now. All right, now that you unpause the video, we're going to go through this. Although you can't see it, let me erase it. Okay, there's a 10x there. We need to move this over because that x squared has to stay positive. It absolutely has to. So we subtract the 10x over from both sides. That gives you 8x squared minus 10x plus 3 equals 0. 8 and 10 have something in common, but 3 doesn't. You have to ask yourself, what do all 3 have in common? They have nothing. So we have to do the bottoms up method. So we're going to multiply 8 to the 3. That gives us positive 24. And then you're going to find the factors of 24. So we've done this quite a bit. Factors of 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. Since this last one's positive, you are asking yourself what factors add to get that 10. Okay. Now another thing to think of, this is positive. The symbol in front will tell you what both operations you're using, what operations you're using in both set of parentheses. So we're using negatives. And the only one that added together gets 10 is the 4 and 6. Okay. Don't forget, you have to undo what you did. So you have to divide by 8 and simplify the fraction. So dividing by 8, if you're taking 4 divided by 8, sorry, brain fart, it's the same thing as 1/2, or you're just dividing both of them by 4. That 2 comes up in the bottoms up method as 2x minus 1 equals 0. Oops, not equals 0, sorry. Ignore that. And then this simplifies, they're both even, so you can divide by 2, and that gives you 3, and that gives you 4. So you're going to bring the 4 up, and you get 4x minus 3 equals 0. Okay, you're going to set each one equal to 0. Now we've done 2x minus 1 several times, so it does equal a half. You can look at it up here. Sorry, I just clicked something. You're getting used to this whole thing. Ooh, I don't even know what I did. Look, I just undid that. Oops. Oh, wow. Okay, the struggle is real. All right. You have, and look at that. Now I don't have the pen. Okay. Whew. Okay. Adapting. We're just adapting. Constantly adapting. Okay. So 4x minus 3 equals 0. You add the 3. Divide by that 4, and you get x equals, 3/4. So final answer for this is x equals 1/2 and 3/4. Okay. Hopefully you did number 5 too. You have to get everything from one side to the other, knowing that the x squared has to stay positive. So that means you have to move everything from the right to the left. Okay. Now you have something to collect like terms with over here, giving you 4x squared, 7x, and then you're going to subtract the 2, but there's nothing to subtract with it, and that is a subtracting negative 2. So you get this. 4 and 2 have something in common, but 7 has nothing in common with 4 and 2. So you can't do greatest common factor. You have to do bottoms up. So we're sliding that 4 over to the 2, making it negative 8. And you're going to find the factors of 8 that give you 1 and 7, or give you 7. 1 and 7 are the answer as I say it. Trying to think ahead, not say ahead. But 1 and 7 are the only thing that's going to get you. Sorry, I said 8. 1 and 8. It's been a long day. Woo. 1 and 8 are the factors that will give you 7. So since this is negative, one of them has to be negative, and one has to be positive. Okay. Since this is positive, this symbol, since the last symbol is negative, the first symbol is positive, that means the larger number is going to be positive, or the larger factor. So we get this, which is correct. Negative 1 and 8 give you negative 8, and negative 1 plus 8 give you 7. We have to undo what we did. Okay. This can't simplify any farther, so we bring the 4 out in front. This divides by into 2. And we set everything equal to 0. So 4x minus 1 equals 0. That's a 4, not a 9. 4. Add that 1 over, and you get 1. We're going to run out of room here. Divide by 4, and you get 1/4. Here, this one's a little bit simpler because there's no coefficient in front of the x, so you just got to do one step. And voila, you get your answers of negative 2 and 1/4. All right. So a lot of examples, plenty to look back into. I'll continue to break up these lessons into 3 parts as long as you like it that way. If you want me to do one large video, that is okay with me. Just leave me comments of what you prefer. All right, see ya.